Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Monterey Peninsula Airport District Board of Directors. It is 4:30 and we are called to order. Please silence your phones and other electronic devices as I silence mine. Roll call, please.
Director Amati,
Present.
Director Gagliotti,
Here.
Director Leffel,
Here.
Director Miller, Chair Pick.
Here. Thank you so much. Dr. Leffel, will you lead us in the pledge?
Yes, please join me. I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
All right, communications, announcements, and informational items. Anything from staff?
None from staff.
Okay, thank you. And from board members?
No.
Okay. Public comment on non-agenda items. Any person may address the board at this time. Oh, thanks. Any person may address the board at this time on an item that is not on the agenda. If it is on the agenda and you want to comment, we'll take your comment when we get to that item. But anything that's not on the agenda, but in the purview of the jurisdiction of the district, please come forward, state your name, and we're happy to hear from you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. So my name is Officer Barrera.
Is that on?
Is there a but?
Okay, go ahead.
So I just wanted to come before the board representing TSA. I work down at the checkpoint downstairs. So I wanted to come before you to thank the board and also for airport operations for the support that we have continuously received throughout the years, especially when officers were hit by not one but two government shutdowns. In 2025, we were shut down for 43 days, and then in 2026, we were shut down for 76 days. So the acknowledgement and support was really helpful in keeping morale up. As we move closer to the new terminal, with new flight loads and a new checkpoint, we hope that this partnership between TSA and the board with the airport continues to grow. For the federal officers that run the checkpoint downstairs, this isn't just a job, it's a commitment to ensuring that we intercept any danger or incendiaries or weapons before they can get into the hands of anybody with malintent. This has been for some a 15 to 20-year commitment. And as our team grows with the new checkpoints, we hope that during nationwide discussions about privatization, that the Monterey Airport will continue to trust our federal team with their security. Just a little bit about our checkpoint downstairs. Not only did we receive 100% on our accountability drill, which means every single officer responded to the call, but our officers have continuously maintained for the last 5 years a call out and absentee rate below the regional and national average. This is unmatchable by most security companies. Additionally, our officers bring with them a very unique set of backgrounds and experiences, including fluency in languages like Spanish, Russian, Tagalog, and Korean. Many have experience in law enforcement or other professional lines of work with degrees in teaching, criminal justice, international relations, sociology, mental health, and medicine. This expertise has made them great selections for federal service, and is typically not the average experience level for an entry-level security officer. With such diversity, what unites officers is that they've all responded to the call. Regardless if they were in elementary school or if they were at home with their kids when 9/11 happened, they understand the seriousness of what happened and what can never happen again. With another government shutdown likely in October, our officers in Monterey have vowed to continue their commitment regardless of whether they're getting paid or not. And with this vow and our gratitude for the airport, we hope that the airport will continue to stand with fellow workers against privatization due to its detrimental effects on officers. So we just appreciate you and hope that you'll continue to stand with us as we move forward into a new fiscal year and with a new terminal. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. We
you.
appreciate you very much. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Board. I'm Marlena Brown, representing Naval Support Activity Monterey. Would like to add those things. We have had, particularly to the Monterey Jet Center this week, we have had a very busy week on base and with NPS. Yesterday, we had a NVIDIA dedication of a AI supercomputer, the GB300. We also are hosting the International Alumni Symposium, which there are over 50 countries represented on base at the moment, which is really exciting, and also the NPS Converge event. And so it brought a lot of distinguished visitors to Monterey this week. We were very busy, a lot of logistics and coordination. So thank you for the continued support and partnership with the airport and the Monterey Jet Center. We appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Any other public comment? Anyone online? Seeing no hands raised online and no one else in the room, we'll close public comment. Thank you very much for those comments. Okay. So at this time, in part because of the International Alumni Symposium going on at MPS, I am afraid I have a work commitment sooner than I realized I have. And so I'm going to ask the board's indulgence with a vote to change the sequence of the board agenda. And I apologize in advance to all of you that came expecting a certain timeline. We're going to do a little crazy Ivan here. And especially apologies to those online planning to speak. What I would propose to the board is that we move the closed session agenda item to next in the order and then resume in the order of the agenda. If so, that will require a motion and a second.
I will move that we move closed item forward. And I apologize to everyone in the audience that we're going to do it, but we all five need to be here for the closed item.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you, John. Any discussion on it? Any public comment on the crazy Ivan? Apologies again, folks. Sorry. Roll call, please.
I'm sorry, Chair, just
Yep.
for the discussion point,
Yep.
for those in attendance, if we could share kind of how long we anticipate maybe close might be so that they're aware.
I wish I knew. It'll be as quickly as we can get it done. I would, if I was going to guess, and I'll jinx us by doing so, I'd say 45 minutes.
Thank you, Chair.
Yep. Roll call, please.
Director Amati,
Yes.
Director Gagliardi,
Aye.
Director Leffel,
Yes,
Director Miller,
Yes.
Chair Pick.
Yes, and thank you. I
Mr. Chair,
appreciate
let
it.
me, if I might be able to just do something to maybe make it easier. Or if you want to tell us which item you're here to look at or to speak on, we can maybe set it for a particular, that it won't happen before a certain time. So if they want to go do something and come back. I mean, I'm trying to figure out.
What I would say, just my experience with this is it's very hard to plan. If I were you, I'd go for about 45 minutes and then I'd be nearby if you want to speak. We'll move through closed session, or rather consent agenda very quickly. And then we'll be in the economic benefits analysis for probably 30 minutes. And then on to hangar accessibility. Beyond that, I hesitate to make any predictions.
No, I was going to say that it wouldn't happen before a certain time. So in other words,
not before 5:30.
Not before 5:30?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is it item number 2 that most people want to, number 1? Okay. Number 2, 1.
I'd say 45 minutes for number 1.
No,
5:30 is probably a safe thing for number 2.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. Thank you again for indulging us. And all right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for indulging the schedule change. Again, my apologies. We'll ask our counselor to report out of closed session when you're ready.
Mr. Chair, there was no reportable action taken in closed session. Direction was given.
Thank you. I will turn the chair over to Director Leffel and excuse myself. Thanks, team. Appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to proceed on with the consent agenda, and there are 6 items on the consent agenda. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to pull one of those items to discuss items 1 through 6 on the consent agenda? Is there anyone online that would like to have a further discussion, have us discuss them?
I move that we pass the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Director Amati,
Aye.
Director Gagliardi,
Aye.
Director Leffel,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
and Chair Pick is absent.
All right, thank you very much. There are no deferred items, so we're going to go to item 1 on the regular agenda, which is the Monterey Regional Airport Economic Benefit Analysis. Who's taking this one? Mark, Chris?
We will, I think, just turn it over to Dave Fitz right away. So Dave is, we have a team online that are here to present the work that was done.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Fitz, welcome.
Thank you, Vice Chair Leffel and members of the Peninsula Board. On behalf of Kaufman Associates and Arizona State Sedman Research Institute, we really wanted to thank you for the opportunity to update the economic analysis for you. Joining me today is Dr. Lee McFeeters. Some of you may remember him from back in 2014 when he prepared the initial study for the economic benefit for the airport. I'd like to take a minute and kind of walk through some of Dr. McFeeters' credentials. He holds a BA in economics from San Francisco State University. He has a PhD in economics from Virginia Polytech Institute. And he's also served as a professor of economics for the W.P. Carey School of Business for Arizona State University and as a director of Economic Outlook Center for the Sedman Research Institute. In addition to preparing the previous economic benefits study for Monterey, he's also prepared 100 other similar studies for airports across the country, including 65 in partnership with Kaufman Associates. So with that, I'd like to turn it over for Dr. McFeeters to give you the results.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Dave. We are going to be seeing a slide presentation here. But before we jump into that, I'd just like to start off by giving thanks to Mark Wilson and his staff for the help with pulling all the data together, and back to Dave Fitz for keeping the project on track. We appreciate that. What we're going to see here, it's about a 10-slide packet. It's basically the highlights of the written report. And it's going to be a blizzard of numbers, and I kind of apologize for that. But before we get into that, if you would show the next slide, this is an overview of the scope and methodology of these kinds of studies. I think it'd be accurate to say that most larger airports have an economic benefit study on their website for public information and usually associated with planning activity. And it is something that is typically updated perhaps every 5 to 10 years. But I think it's about time that Monterey updated because some of these numbers I think are very interesting, especially with a new terminal coming online, which gives us something to look forward to here. So the way these studies are set up has really been standardized by the FAA and the field of airport analysis. As you might expect, the key measure is on airport activity, aviation activity, and non-aviation activity is important as well because airports usually appreciate the revenue generated by non-aviation employment. There are now airports that actually have hotels on site. So non-aviation is of interest as well. In addition to what goes on the airport, the studies typically include air visitor spending, and that would be airline, commercial service, and general aviation activity. Airline activity is a bit easier to measure. GA activity, there's a bit more privacy associated with it. And I want to commend my colleague Sean for dealing with a lot of the kind of complexity of measuring what's going on with GA activity. After you have the on-airport employment and revenues and so forth, that's the direct output. You then, in a study like this, calculate secondary benefits, which are popularly called ripple effects, multiplier effects. You add together your direct benefits, your secondary benefits, or these multiplier benefits, and that gives you total economic benefits. And we're going to be emphasizing total economic benefits as we go through the other slides, but you need to be mindful, I think, that direct benefits are themselves important because they represent, especially in the case of the airport, what is really going on there in terms of employment and activity. In addition, a study typically examines additional benefits like tax revenues. In the Monterey study, discussed with Mark that we would take a look at the Metamorphosis project and do a little mini benefit study of that. And it's also important, I think, to recognize that, as I said, we're going to have a blizzard of numbers here, but there are important qualitative benefits, and those are, I think, widely felt, but not very easily measured. And we'll look at some examples of those momentarily. So if you could go on to the next slide, please. This is basically the economic benefit, kind of the headline economic benefit number for Monterey Regional Airport based on 2025 numbers. It has a $485.6 million benefit as measured by economic output. This is a total benefit. It includes the direct and secondary. We're seeing employment supported in the regional economy of over 2,400 jobs. Those workers are earning over 200 million a year. And all this activity generates $79 million in tax revenues. So move to the next one, if you would. Next slide. Here we are reminded of the fact that the quantified benefits are not the whole story. If you read that line down at the bottom of the slide, the full value of Monterey Regional Airport extends beyond the quantified economic benefits. Now, those quantified economic benefits are certainly substantial. You have your direct output, your secondary output, and you have your total output of the 485.6 million. The qualitative benefits represents benefits to businesses, benefits to residents. I've given you 6 bullet points, and that's just a limitation due to space. I could have easily given you probably 16 bullet points, but I would like to call your attention to the fact that under benefits to business and under benefits to residents, you've got one word that appears twice, and that word is connections. And the emphasis should be, I think, in looking at the qualitative benefits, that airports support connections among businesses in the region, businesses outside the region, connecting back to businesses in the region. For residents, they can travel outside the region. They have more choices because of an airport as to what their regional accessibility is going to be. But really, I think kind of that key word of connections is something that I think we really need to keep in mind as an indicator of the qualitative benefits. Next slide then goes back to the total economic benefits and shows what we're talking about when we're talking about the combination of the direct benefits, which is your first icon there on the left. The direct benefits are the on-airport activity, air visitor spending. The combination of those direct benefits with the secondary benefits is how we get to the total benefits. Now, what are those secondary benefits? One component of secondary benefits, what economists would call upstream benefits, but more simply are simply inputs, the purchase of inputs to support the direct benefits. And an example might be insurance purchases, for example. Practically every business on the airport has insurance. Every hotel has insurance. But just multiply that over all of the sources of purchases that businesses have to make as inputs, and those are the supplier purchases. Those numbers come from the input-output model, which tell us what are the inputs that are needed to give us the outputs. And for this study, we use a standard input-output model called the IMPLAN model. Same model we used back in the original study years ago. I believe it was 2015. So the methodology is the same. Now, in addition to the inputs or supplier purchases, the other secondary benefits are called the induced benefits, and what they are really are worker spending that is induced by the fact that they have income. From their jobs, they have income. And so from the operations of the airport, from the air visitor spending. We then have inputs purchased to generate that output. And then we have further spending by the workers on the airport and the visitors as they spend their earnings. And the sum total of those, the arithmetic of it, that is how we get to the 485.6 million total output. So if you go on to the next slide, then what we're seeing is the on-airport part of this. And this might be a little easier to look at just by going along the bottom row, really. These are all the items that you see that generate revenues on the airport. You have airlines, you have FBOs, passenger services, government budgets, you have capital spending. You add all that up for our 2025 study period, it's about 147 million. Non-aviation firms, you add that in, and you get then direct on-airport activity. The secondary benefits computed the same way, inputs to that activity, worker spending from that activity gives you total on-airport output. And in the upper set of two icons, we have shown the aviation share of that and then non-aviation firm share of that, showing that certainly aviation activity, as you would expect, dominates, but non-aviation is important. And, everyone's familiar with the airport. You actually have, food service activities, quite a bit of auto repair, different types of businesses, for the most part smaller, but the sum total of aviation and non-aviation gets you to your 293.2 million. So that is your on airport. Go to the next slide, and this is air visitors. Now, air visitors are either airline visitors or general aviation visitors. We looked at the Department of Transportation O&D numbers and computed 181,000 airline visitors to Monterey Airport in 2025. And the spending estimates for those visitors, we engaged a national survey firm, Woods Incorporated, that is sort of the standard for these studies, and use their numbers with proper adjustments, recognizing that there are some differences. The spending by airline visitors was 163.7 million in terms of total benefits. That is direct spending of 133 million plus the secondary benefits gets you to 129.5 million in total economic output. The general aviation part of this, we have a little icon there of a prop plane, but more importantly, I think we would really show a corporate jet because that is where, of course, the larger expenditures are going to be. And we adjusted up the daily spending for that type of aircraft. We looked at the upper end hotel rates. We used federal per diem spending as an absolute baseline, and then added to that, looked and checked that against the Longwood's numbers, and the net result of the whole thing was 28.8 million for general aviation. So obviously airline visitors, much more important. General aviation, somewhat seasonal. A lot of activity in October, a lot of activity in March. Major events tend to draw a lot of GA activity, and Sean is here with us. If you momentarily here, if we have questions, we can call him back in to comment on some of his findings. We have a lot of detail, some of which is in the final report, and some of it which is, still not completely analyzed. So next, go to the next slide, and we've tried to make sense of all these numbers with a different perspective. We have broken it out just looking at one day in and day out. Airports operate 365 days in a year, and day in and day out, Monterey Regional Airport generates $1.3 million total economic benefits into the regional economy. At any point in time, there's 1,336 air visitors in the area. That reflects the fact that the airline visitors' average stay is 2 days. The general aviation visitors, those that stay overnight, their stay is 2.7 days. So you have people arriving on aircraft, staying in the area, and by our calculations, every day are spending over $300,000 per day in the area. And just in terms of activity, 148 daily aircraft operations on average, 888 daily airline employments. You have a stable work situation here in the economy, in that there's 932 workers on the airport. A lot of them, of course, are working on not necessarily a Monday, Friday schedule. And over the whole economy, as we have seen before, 2464 total area jobs are supported. Moving on to the next slide, this is where, can you move to the next slide, please?
You see that?
The next slide, back one, please. The next slide, as part of the in-plan input-output model, and the reason it is so popular. Go back one, please. Thanks. And the reason is really kind of a standard for these analyses is that they've gone to great lengths to incorporate tax rates for a broad range of state and local and federal taxes into the model results. And for the 2025 calendar year that most of our input data reflects, the model shows that the airport generated 79.4 million in total annual tax revenues. Now, I want to emphasize here that includes taxes on direct activity, and that includes the secondary activity. So, for example, when workers go to the grocery store and pay, retail taxes, that's included here as well. Nonetheless, I think these are important numbers that show a contribution of the airport. And we don't quite make it, but it's close to $100,000 a day in state and local taxes generated by the airport. So one more slide, please, if you would. can you, can you give us the next slide? Okay, thank you. As I said, Mark and I discussed, the importance of the entire terminal project, the Metamorphosis project. And we, the study that we have produced, the way these projects operate is that you take construction for the year, kind of a snapshot in time for the year you're looking at. But this is a multi-year project, and so we decided what we would look at is the $182.5 million new terminal metamorphosis project and ran that through the implant model and determined that the total economic benefits then that resulted from that project over the multi-year design and construction period was 263.5 million as your economic benefit generated, 1,300 person years of work. This reflects, that people are in and out. There's very few people probably that work, every day over the 3-year period on this project. But if you add up the person years, it's over 1,300. And the difference then is that what we have over this 3 years as a kind of a multi-year project that is a temporary source of economic benefit, pretty significant $263.5 million benefit from that initial $182.5 million of direct output on design, engineering, some of the initial work like the apron and so forth, and then the actual terminal itself. So I think that is it. If you go on to the next slide, yes, that is it. So if there are questions about the highlights, about the reports, the tables in the report that I think was provided to you, and in particular anything specific on general aviation, on airport aviation activity, any aspects of this, I think I don't know how much time we have, but we're happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the thorough presentation. I'm going to open it up to the public if anyone would like to comment on this.
Matt, do me a favor, just turn the microphone on and off at the bottom. Just to because on the, just there you go. Just to reset it. There you go.
Test. Hello?
It's for online. Yeah, it's for everybody online.
Okay. Vice Chair Leffel, members of the board, Matthew Wright. I'm Vice President for Monterey Fuel Company here at the Monterey Airport. I'm here to comment on the economic impact study draft that we've just reviewed here. I would like to say I think it's a good study. I've actually been a fan of Mr. McPeter's work and Kaufman since like 2008. I think you guys did a economic impact study at Scottsdale Airport, which was very useful and beneficial. So I can remember talking to you folks about that back in the day when I was the general manager for Landmark Aviation on the airport there. So a few comments. Your study says GA visitors account for about $19.8 million in direct benefit, 28.8 million in total. I think that that's dramatically low. And I think that the airport could benefit from a more accurate reflective number in the study. Sean, I'm happy to have a conversation with you about that if that's instructional. But a couple of points here. The first one is the per diem that you use. I think it's a number used. It's a national study, the Price Waterhouse study. It's $650 a night for the lodging. That study warns that the GA spending on the nightly is severely understated. So at least a disclaimer in the study that you've got here that number is potentially severely understated. The model assumes $650 a night for lodging. We have very few customers flying in Gulfstreams and Learjets, Citation jets that are spending $650 a night. You can't get a room at Pebble Beach or Post Ranch Inn or many of the luxury hotels here in Monterey for that amount. So I think revisiting that may be worthy, or at least a comment. What I don't think is included in the study, and again, I could be wrong on this, is just my review of the study, is that there is a huge economic benefit from folks that are here during Car Week on auction purchases. There's a tremendous amount of sales tax generated, golf and tee times and club fees. That's probably, as much as 50% of our transient traffic here. Event hospitality, real estate trips. So I didn't get that those were baked into the number. If they are, I apologize. I just would ask that you take a look at those and make sure those are included. The other thing that I'm not sure was included or not, based on the number, how many passengers per movement. It seemed like it was around 5. I just want to make sure crews are added into that, because that's 2 additional bodies that are also staying for the 2.7 nights. Arguably, they're more on the $650 a night range, but I want to make sure that the crews are included in that number. And then also, you've included revenues for FBO, charter, and maintenance in the study. I think it was a total of $38.7 million of output. Most of that output is generated by general aviation visitors. So in my mind, shouldn't a lot of that be baked back into the GA visitor number? Certainly it's not 100% of the 38.7, but it probably is in the neighborhood of 70% of that number. So again, I'm not a statistician. So I just would like to point that out. Most importantly, I want to draw your attention to the study you just completed for Scottsdale, right? I think you completed a 2025 master plan study for Scottsdale, where Scottsdale has significantly more operations, but they also had significantly higher GA visitor spending, payrolls, jobs, and their total impact was $1.1 billion. Scottsdale has no commercial service. There's not one single scheduled air carrier that uses Scottsdale. It's all general aviation, business aviation. The per operation total, as I computed it for Scottsdale, is $1,700 of GA visitor output per operation. What you've got in here for Monterey is $530. So that's, Scottsdale's 3x what you've got for Scottsdale. And maybe I'm missing the computation or the calculation somewhere. But it's based on the same Longwoods data. And Scottsdale is actually a very similar market to what we have here in Monterey. Monterey, actually, if you look at the CVB data between Monterey and Scottsdale, Monterey actually comes in at a higher economic value than Scottsdale. So
Matt,
I'm running out of time.
you,
I'm well over
you're,
time.
you're well over time, yeah. It's the longest.
I
3
yield
minutes
my
I've
time
ever-
back. That was the longest 1 minute comment we've ever had. Well, I appreciate the extra extended time, and would just ask that we review those general aviation, business aviation numbers, because I think they are important in the final output of the product.
So I'm gonna take a chair prerogative, and if you have more, they need to hear it because this is a draft and it needs to be right. So, and we have been very deficient that we haven't directed our staff strongly enough to do this, and it took so long to get it done. So we want it done right. So keep going.
And in particular, if even to follow up, if you have it in writing,
I do have it, and I'm
That'd be-
happy to share it,
be
and
great.
I'm pretty much at the end. I had a statistic about the Scottsdale versus Monterey. The average Monterey visitor spends, according to CVB, 2 times what a Scottsdale visitor spends. So, I mean, that's rather significant. So to see numbers so varied between general business aviation attributed at Scottsdale versus Monterey, I just think it's worthy of further discussion or explanation. I mean, there may just be an explanation that I didn't comprehend from the information I had. So, so my ask would be to acknowledge or disclaim, have that disclaimer that those per diem numbers that you're using by the people who did the study say that they are severely understated. 2, if we can, add a car week sensitivity case plus real local room rates, and present the general aviation visitor and FBO impacts together. That's the users of the FBO services, that should be included in the value that they're generating as well, I think. And then revisit the output per operation, the output per GA visitor per operation. I just think it's significantly understated. Again, Scottsdale's at 1,700 in the 2025 study. We're at $530. So, yeah, thank you for the extra time, and that's.
We want a good report.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In their defense, they showed an icon of a Cirrus, not a Gulf Stream.
Do we have any other
I-
comments on the report? Okay, online, anyone? Nope,
Madam Chair,
I see none. All right, I'm gonna bring it back to the board, and Carl, can I start with you?
I appreciate the report, but I do have to agree with Mr. Wright that I think you did underreport the impact of our FBO, and I'd appreciate if you relook at that. But I like what I saw, and you presented it in an easier way that could be understood, and I look forward to seeing the revised numbers. Thank you.
Director Gagliotti?
I don't have any additional comments. I think Director Miller has said it all. I guess one thing is that how can we actually make that happen? All of the Jet Center's comments, Matt's center, and how do
I
do
think
we-
staff will work with the,
okay.
with
All right. I just want to make sure that does. Okay. thank
Dr. McPeters to work on it and see what we can take a look at. Director Amati?
Thank you. You're economist, right? Dr. McPeters?
That is correct, sir.
So there was a very specific methodology that was utilized for this report that is the FAA dictated, mandated methodology suggested.
I would say it is a standard, especially in the sense that you will look at airports across the nation, LAX, Portland, Oregon, whatever, you'll find that they use this same methodology.
So to the point that Mr. Wright brought up of Scottsdale, the same methodology used for that airport was used for our airport?
Well, now there's two parts to what Mr. Wright was talking about. One, I believe, is rock solid, and that is that there were 4,405 overnight stay aircraft, and we know that because we had a sample of 28,000 aircraft that we evaluated from the FlightAware and the ADS-B system. And again, Sean is our expert on this, but we were able to actually track when aircraft come in, how long they stay, when they depart. And I believe those numbers are very, very solid. Now,
I'm sorry,
what is not,
Mr. McPeters, I'm sorry. The question was whether or not the same methodology was used for the report that he referenced and the methodology that was used for this report. Was it the same?
are you referring to the Scottsdale?
Correct.
I was not involved in a 2025 study of Scottsdale.
Okay, so you don't know. There are other ways of measuring economic impact, correct? Other than this one specific methodology that was used? In general,
Well,
in
I
economics?
now I am not quite sure. Um, I would say that economic impact consists of the direct, secondary, and total effects. I'm not quite sure what innovations could be brought to bear there, but certainly that part of it, I think, is while not a requirement, is certainly the standard across the country. If somebody is, got some other method, I'd be interested in learning about it.
And another question was, on page 4 of the report, it specifically states the total economic benefits of an airport are measured by combining direct economic activity benefits with secondary benefits generated as that activity circulates through the regional economy. In your estimation, how much of the total economic impact stays within the local economy?
That is one of the benefits of using the M-Plan model. The M-Plan model restricts itself to Monterey County numbers.
So the 485.6 million economic benefit, that is $4 that stay in Monterey County.
I would, well, I would say yes, this is a Monterey County impact benefit.
So for
study.
example, if somebody were buying a commercial airline ticket through United, those dollars, even though they're purchasing it for a Monterey airport, in my mind, those dollars that are going to United corporate for the ticket, that is not benefiting necessarily Monterey County. There are obviously sales tax dollars and things like that could have an impact, but the cost of the ticket doesn't necessarily. So is that, those costs are not included in this report?
No, you are correct. What we are measuring is revenues for an airline, for example. We are measuring the airline revenues, and that would be correct. Ultimately, those revenues go back to headquarters, and that again is standard practice.
So my question then was, in your estimation, and obviously not necessarily an exact number, but in your estimation, what percentage stays within Monterey County of this total impact?
Well, I simply would not be able to give you a number, but again, I would tell you that the entire reason people use M-Plan is that it is a regional input-output model, and it is based on Monterey County coefficients. And to produce output in Monterey County, you need inputs, and the inputs that are measured are inputs only from Monterey County. For example, even in the construction projects, if a machine needs to be purchased from outside of Monterey County, that is not included as an impact. Only the kind of the margin or the profit or whatnot of the sales would remain with the supplying firm.
I understand. Thank you. No other questions. Sure.
Okay, thank you. I had one question. Is it Sean? Is our Airbnbs, are those captured through TOT? Is that how you're figuring out the nights and the taxes?
Lee, we are using numbers from the Longwood study to
Correct.
calculate. Yeah, so we're using numbers from the Longwood study to calculate stays and how much visitors spend on lodging. So to the extent that visitors report their Airbnb spending in those surveys, then yes, Airbnb is reflected in the lodging numbers.
Okay, I was just curious. And then I guess the other thing is, what impact, or is there an impact that you can capture on having a flight training facility on the airport? I saw that it's like, I don't know how many flights you had ones that come from outside with GA and then those that are local that take off and come back to our airport. So those are
Yeah.
local pilots, and that actually also includes the training. But to me, the training component has a very valid economic benefit to our region and to the nation because we're training pilots. So is there a way to capture that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if there is good data on how much people pay for the training school, that would be certainly a very valuable input into figuring out the exact value. As to the value to society of having more pilots, that's probably less quantifiable.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. And I think we'll probably ask for a little bit more revision based on some things or just some clarification, but thank you. Overall, it's a great report. We're happy to have it and we won't let it go so long next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And sorry to keep you waiting so long.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, that was an accept. We don't need any votes on it. So thank you very much, gentlemen. Are you having thunderstorms in Kansas?
We are
and
actually.
Missouri?
Yes. So it's nice and hot and humid here.
Yeah. We're not. Thank you.
Yes. I need to come visit then.
Okay. We're going to go on with item number 2, which is the hangar accessibility for general aviation tenants.
Yes. Just making sure knew they could get off. You have in front of you a report that was done, or just a synopsis that was done on hangar accessibility. And this is based on comments that you've received before. So Whitney's going to walk you through this.
Okay.
Great, thank you, board. So I'm going to talk to you about hangar accessibility and talk to you about the policies that govern our program here at the airport. First, I want to let you know that the airport security program is the main governing document that dictates how we disseminate badges as well as gate access. So badges and gate permissions are assigned here at the Monterey Airport based on operational necessity. Our airport has a very robust access control program, and it's designed to provide levels of access required to support airport operations and protect the integrity of our security program. Now, the security program is a mandate by TSA, or specifically Transportation Security Regulations 1542, as we are a commercial service airport. So I want to note for the room that access procedures and operational responsibilities vary between hangar complexes, as there are multiple GA complexes on the north side of our field. And I want to clarify the airport's existing access control practices and the application of those practices in response to the recent questions that we've had on gate access. So when a tenant requires access outside of their assigned permissions, the airport coordinates with the authorized party, that being the master hangar tenants, to coordinate access for all subtenants. More specifically, for planned or long-term outages, airport operations posts signage at the affected gate and identifies alternative access points or other access instructions. Badge holders typically are temporarily granted gate access through the support of airport operations as well as airport PD. Now, as it relates to unplanned gate outages, typically airport operations is finding out about these instances from badge holders, but the primary response is the same. Badge holders contact the airport PD or operations, and the operations or PD arrange for alternate access for the particular badge holder. So one thing I want to keep front of mind is that our airport security program is designed for us to remain in compliance with TSA security requirements, because there are hefty fines if we find ourselves outside of compliance. And I also want to recognize that granting alternate gate accesses comes with driver sensitivities. We may be putting someone in a situation where they're unfamiliar with their surroundings, which can also lead to what we refer to out there as vehicle deviations. And that's something else that the FAA will ding us for. So that's why we maintain a safe and secure movement area by limiting badge access, or I should say rather gate access, to the lowest level need necessary.
And I think I'd add to it, our plan has to get approved as well. So the plan that we have in place is an approved plan, and to deviate from it is not, it's not quick or easy. So we have to adhere to the plans that are approved by the regulatory agencies. So both from a driving perspective and from a gate perspective.
I'm going to open it up to the public for comment. And if you could, try to limit yourself to 3 minutes. I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway since you had wait for us. So, but please, if you can.
Please go to the mic, because it's just for recording purposes. Otherwise, people can't hear after.
If it, we'd like to request that I would speak for the majority of the folks here, and that they would cede their time to me.
That's,
Only need like 7 or 8 minutes.
that's fine, Matt.
And then there's one gent that would like to make an additional comment,
That's fine.
if that's all right.
It's fine.
Okay, so I am Matt Pastelaniak.
Well, hey, we're all neighbors here.
I'm Matt Pastelaniak. I'm a local pilot here on the field, kind of the informal representative for the Monterey Pilots group here at the field, as you all are probably aware. I'd like to limit my initial comments to the G2 comments that the executive director posted in the package there. And I'll be reading specifically some of those and then comments related to that. First one, under the discussion section, it states that aircraft ownership or tenancy does not automatically warrant unrestricted access to every gate serving the secured area. Further, that the current approach limits unnecessary security exposure, and when needed, the airport coordinates with the applicable hangar operator. Okay, so we are not requesting unrestricted access. We are requesting access to specifically 3 gates. The tenants in the northwest hangar area, or the NSSI, are currently only able to enter via Victor 22. Yet we can exit through Victor 22 or through Victor 18, which is next to the old Monterey Bay Aviation. Badge access gets us onto the ramp. We can go out either one of those gates. So we're simply asking to be able to come in the same gates we can currently exit through along the same routes. There's no added security exposure in doing this. We already have badge access to the ramp. Whether we go out 22, out 18, doesn't make any difference. We'd like to be able to come into Victor 18 when Victor 22 is broken, which has happened quite a few times over the last few months. As far as coordination is concerned, I personally have never had the airport coordinate anything during the instances where the gate has malfunctioned, not due to a power outage or a weather event, especially on the weekends or holidays, which to me personally has happened 3 or 4 times, and I think to some of our folks even more than that. That's what I'm personally aware of. In fact, I've not even been able to get in contact with anyone from operations on the weekend or a holiday. There's no phone numbers. There's nobody that responds. My only recourse is to call the airport police and wait until or if an officer arrives, and that generally takes an hour or more. Then, once they get there and check the credentials, then we need to worry about getting access to some of the other gates for them to let us in. Further states that access permissions are assigned using the principle of operational necessity, which was just mentioned, providing only access required to perform authorized activities. Access to your hangar and conducting aircraft maintenance is an operational necessity and an authorized activity. Not having access to the gate where the maintenance hangar is impedes our ability to have maintenance done on our planes. That's what happens to the folks that are stationed, have hangars in the northwest hangar, where the maintenance hangar with cord is down at Victor 22 Bravo. None of us can have access through that gate. We cannot drive to the hangar. I'll give an example a little bit later on where it really comes into bear. Under the impact of operations, it states badge holders authorized to drive within the AOA receive training specific to the areas that are expected to access. Expanding vehicle gate access beyond an individual's operational area increases the potential for runway or taxiway incursions, exposes personnel to unfamiliar operations. Okay, this statement is pretty misleading. There is no specific training provided or required of AOA badge holders who have hangars that I'm aware of. There's no specific training. As I've said before, tenants in the northwest hangars can already exit either via Victor 22 or Victor 18 and frequently do so. The area around Victor 18 is not an active taxiway, only used for overflow parking occasionally. On the northeast side, where there are currently 50-some hangars there already and tenants who drive all over that area there is no taxiway, no runway between Victor 22B and the maintenance hangar. It's all of maybe 80 yards from the gate to the hangar. Again, no additional security problems there. We all have AOA badge access to the field as it is. The individuals we're talking about here that are requesting this additional access for are not just folks that are coming in off the street or from outside asking for access. These are pilots and aircraft owners who are very familiar with taxiways and runways and the restrictions for accessing both and the ramifications of incursions. So we are very well aware of what would happen if we were to drive out on a taxiway or a runway. Having access to Victor 18 for NSSI aircraft owners poses no additional security risk. Access to V-22B, which is out by the maintenance hangar, where the mechanic is for the flight school and a number of the folks that are at NSSI, in addition to the hangars down there, is an operational maintenance necessity inherent in aircraft ownership and operation. Now, one example that I'll give you for that is I have to do an annual inspection on my aircraft. For me, that's twice a year I have to do it. And there are other times with it. There's some things that I need to do with my plane, and I'll use the example of removing the wheel and the tire, breaking down the wheel completely in order to get in and repack the bearings. It's part of the checklist that I have to do. I don't have the equipment in my hangar to do that. The mechanic does. He has allowed me to go down there to use his equipment in order to do that, to help defray some of the cost in doing the inspections. I cannot drive down and access that gate. The only way I can do it is to get in an airplane and taxi down there. Or I have to go there, call him or his folks, get him to stop whatever they're doing and come out and escort me to and from. He is often not there because he is on call 24/7 for the commercial airlines here, and he has other business on the field. So that in turn could delay significantly me getting my maintenance done, which in turn results in my aircraft being grounded for longer periods of time. This is not a new request. When we had the hangar on the south side of the field, the maintenance hangar was there with the other hangars. Anybody who had aircraft anywhere on the field were able to access the gate to get to the maintenance hangar to get the maintenance done. Now, all of a sudden, we move that hangar over to the northeast side of the field, and now we don't have that access unless we have hangars that are part of the Monterey Fuel Company or the airport district hangars. Those are the only ones that get in that gate. So I can't drive to take wheels or whatever out to the hangar there to get my maintenance done. The folks that are in the flight school are in the same boat. Their airplanes are in there all the time. They have to taxi or get somebody else to take them all the way around to drop them off to go get the airplanes that they have worked on. It's a lot of different, it's a lot of time and effort involved, and it's keeping the folks that own aircraft from getting the maintenance done on their aircraft by not having access to that gate. Okay, so that's pretty much what I wanted to say here. This is not a nice to have, but is an operational necessity and an authorized activity, which we have to have in order to maintain our aircraft. We used to have it down here. We moved that facility to the northeast side of the field, and now we don't have access to it anymore. To me, that's impeding us from getting the maintenance that we need for our aircraft, which we're supposed to have by virtue of basing the aircraft on the field or in the hangars. So thank you for your time. I appreciate that. But I think there was just, I have one more thing from a gent who is in England right now. He asked me to relay this on. It's a little bit different take on it, but it involves the longer power outages. And he asked me to read this if we had the time. Since being a tenant, one of the Northeast hangars, there have been multiple occasions when we have been informed that the V-22B gate is out of action. That's the one down by the hangars, down by the maintenance hangar. We understand occasional failures, but there needs to be a plan that allows tenants access when the gate malfunctions. I have rented hangars at Tracy, Livermore, and Salinas, and although they also have gate failures, there's always a contingency plan or other gate access provided. It's not acceptable to simply say that tenants to the Northeast hangars have no access to their hangars because of a gate malfunction. I think you'll hear that some of the tenants out there have received just that email on occasion saying, gates down, you have no access to your hangar till further notice. No options. Here's a few ideas that you can consider. There's others, I'm sure. One was a gate guard, provide a staff member or law enforcement to man the gate when that happens to allow entry. Escorted drive, provide a staff member or vehicle to escort hangar tenants from another gate, possibly gate V-22. Transport by either Monterey Fuel Company, the Del Monte Aviation, or the airport district to get people out to their hangar. An appointment to be able to call somebody to set up a specific time to make an appointment to get out to your hangar. add a card access lock to the one of the man gates, the walk-through gates that are out there, similar to what we had here on the south side, where people could park outside and go through that walk-in gate using the same AOA access card, and allow tenants at gate V22, which is down here. There is a dirt access road which goes from there up to the other one, which does not go on any taxiways or runways, which could be used to get from one gate out to the maintenance facility in the event that that gate is down out there. In short, there must be a way to provide, at the very least, a timed appointment service where tenants can get access by booking time slot in advance. This could apply to each of the suggestions above. I ask that you be considered, and that was from another one of the tenants that is out on in the Monterey Airport District hangars. He's in England right now, but I think he's already brought this up before. So a couple of things I would like to leave you with. One is, again, this is not a new request. We had that access previously when the hangars were down on the south. It moved to the new location. All of a sudden, many of us have no drive-in access to get maintenance done anymore. And two, these are folks, pilots that operate aircraft day in and day out, are very familiar with all the taxiways and the runways, I dare say maybe than some of the ops folks are here, and the restrictions that go along with that. We know where we can and can't go. Let's prosecute the folks that may errantly do that and not handcuff everybody across, painting with a broad brush like that. So thank you very much.
Do you have someone else from the public who would like to speak?
Good evening, Mark Arnold, tenant in the north. Rectors, good to be here. Just a quick anecdote to kind of give an example. In my experience, I'm a tenant up in the north. Angel Flight. I don't know if you know Angel Flight. We provide free transportation for those who can't tolerate or access transportation to medical. And anyways, I'm on the board, and I had a board meeting down in LA, and I'm driving to the airport, and I get the email that says, sorry, gate's down, there's no access to the area. So I start calling the FBOs, and the FBOs tell me, nope, can't give you a ride, no access, when's it going to be up? We don't know. Try other numbers, I can't get a hold of anybody. So at that point, I then have to drive down to LA to attend the board, which I could do, which I did, and then came back. But to have an airplane here that is working, which is nice to have, and go down there and then have to drive it just because I don't have access is extremely frustrating. I just wanted to share that. And I understand security is very important and plans are in place. And this is purely my opinion, that the interpretation is draconian at this point, or a little bit on the conservative side. And that we used to have access. And so if we could work within the plan, and to be able to then grant, operational access to these areas and have contingency plans, that would really be appreciated. So that's all. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this topic? All right. Is there anyone online that would like to speak on the topic? Certainly.
My name's Martin McKendry. I have a hangar over in the northeast area. I just want to make 2 points. One of them is when we talk about maintenance, I don't know if you guys know, it's not like car maintenance. I recently had an unfortunate incident where my prop got damaged. It was small damage. You look at it, you'd say that's nothing. If it was a car, you'd just get it fixed. It took me a year to get it fixed because by FAA regulations, the engine had to be taken out. It had to be shipped to Livermore. At the beginning of all this, I was dealing with insurance. I had to visit the maintenance hangar about 50 times because we were putting together quotes. We were stripping pieces out of the plane, you know, we were bringing things back in, there were all the bits and pieces. So it took a year and about 50 visits. Fortunately, my plane is over near the maintenance hangar, so it wasn't an issue for me. But every time I come in, I see pilots parked waiting to get in. And that's a problem. The second point I'd like to make is the fact that the gate is not reliable means that we all have to incorporate that into our travel plans. I mean, yes, it is a luxury to have a plane, but we do pay you for rent. And so every time we think about something, we have to think about going somewhere, go to see my kids in Phoenix or something. I have to think about what if I don't get the plane. So it's not a reliable service, and we have to take this into account continuously. There must be a way that there's a workaround. So I think that's what we're asking for.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Matt, they're taking all the time that they ceded to you.
Anyway, my name's Dan McWhinney, and I'm a tenant over in the NSI hangars. I've been a tenant in the NSI hangars for 30 years. Been working around the airport, on the airport terminal for years, not greatly. Anyway, I have waited at Victor 22 probably a half a dozen times. Called the PD, they show up, they're irritated, they're pulled off of some other duty, some other security risk on the airport that they're supposed to be watching to come over and service the gate, take me around to Victor 18. And it's just, it seems like there should be staff available, or we should fix the problem. You know, redundancy is a big thing in airports. So to have a redundant access, you know, someplace that's your go-to plan B, whatever you want to call it, makes a lot of sense. And I don't understand, based on Matt's comments, there's a way it's not acceptable. So I hope you consider making access available to us pilots.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I'm going to close public comment. Okay, I'm going to close public comment and bring it back to the board. And thank you all for showing up tonight. Thank you for waiting. Sorry you had to wait. I'm going to bring it back, and I'll start with Director Amati.
Yeah, Madam Chair, would it actually be possible to give staff an opportunity to respond to some of the comments that we heard? I would like to get their perspective on whether it was the challenges presented or the possible solutions that were presented. I would love to be able to hear from staff.
Sure. So there was a few comments that I want to dispel as misinformation. So there is training for all badge holders at the airport. The level of training differs depending on what color badge you have, but AOA badge holders do in fact receive training. Do they receive driver's training? No, but there is a packet that they sign every year, which we require them to read, but some people are just like, it says in there that this is your access and there's no driving permitted on the airfield. So training is provided to each individual badge holder. As it relates to gate reliability, we do have gate failures, but as mentioned, a lot of the times those are tied to severe weather. They are tied to power outages. So we did a survey of gate outages for the last rolling 12 months. And we did have a major outage. It was May 16th through the 18th, where we worked tirelessly to get those gates back online. But in the 12 months that we canvassed, we showed gate outages 4 times. So those are 3 comments that I wanted to respond to. Now, as it relates to the suggestions, yes, airports are 24/7, but we don't have staff here 24/7. Another thing that stood out to me, it seems like most of you all are at NSSI. No, okay. Well, the emails that state you have no gate access, are those coming from the airport or is that coming from your master tenant? Because we would never say, hey, you cannot access your plane. That's just not what we would do. So those are a couple of the things that I wanted to respond to. In terms of their alternatives, we'd have to evaluate them as staff, but I will say overarchingly, it would be tough for us to provide staffing for someone to be here all the time to respond to a possible gate outage.
Which is why it's part of what we pay PD to do. So it is a part of we pay them for security, and that is part of our security program. And they know that, and it's one of their duties to help and assist when gates are out. So whether they might feel like they're being pulled off something else, it's not. That is a responsibility and a duty of why we have police here all the time. It is part of those gates are part of our security program. Police are here to police our security program. And helping at gates is one of those responsibilities as well. So while we might have airport staff direct, we do have policing 24/7, and they are available to help with those issues. And that is, again, part of our contract with them. And they are here to manage our security program, which is a program that is written and approved by TSA. And as things happen, like with FAA and air traffic, and as things happen across the country, that ripple down effect comes to airports. If there's security breaches that are happening at other airports, our airport is affected by it because they start to shorten and tighten the ability to deviate from anything. Same thing with air traffic. We've seen that as we've had issues across the country with air traffic control and aircraft possible misapproaches, all of the things that have been happening. Air traffic gets tighter and tighter, and things that possibly were possible before are no longer possible today. So it's a reactionary industry that we're in, and we are, and I know the airports that they listed were Livermore, Tracy, and Salinas. They're all generally aviation airports. They're not 139 airports, and there are different requirements at 139 airports than those airports have as well, too. So just want you to understand that we are not being restrictive because we want to. We are being restrictive because we have to. It is part of our security program that is approved across the whole airport.
If you don't mind, I think I'd love to start down at that end because I know that they've had discussions in community and air service committee. And so I'd love to be able to hear from John and Carl first on this one.
Well,
if you don't mind.
I have a question though. Is there a way for us to get a new gate or to get this one fixed so that it is, or is there a backup solar or generator or something that we could put on that gate so that it is not so unreliable? Thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
I would say that we've tried. I mean, it is a simple gate and motor. We've changed out motors. We've changed out card readers. We could try replacing the whole thing, but
I'm not sure which one we're talking. When the power's out, the power's out. And we do not have, almost all of our gates are not on backup power. We have a lot of backup power here and a lot of things that are, but there are some things that aren't. And that's going to be typical at every airport as well.
No, but it sounds, I keep hearing 22, 22, 22. So I guess my question is there a way to put a small generator out there that it could be a backup to it? I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, no, I'm just looking there, and I'm not sure which one we're talking. They talk about V18, V22, and V22B. So they've talked about 3 different gates. I think V22B was the one they were complaining about. Yes, when it was first put in, it did not work properly. We redesigned that gate completely to make it work properly. So the issues, I think, have been mitigated by at V22B. So we will say, yes, initially it didn't work well. Totally redesigned it, reconstructed it so that now it does and is reliable, but still not on backup power. That one is not, nor are any of the gates around the airport. That is and how it's always been. A lot, as I said, a lot of things are on backup or on generator, but our gates are not one of those.
So it might be something that as a board we explore in this next budget year. If, I mean, I'm just,
Absolutely.
we're open to
Absolutely.
solutions.
Mhm.
So,
Of course.
okay. Director Miller?
Thanks, everybody, for coming in and bringing this to our attention, and thank you, staff, for reporting it. I just have a quick couple questions. Did I hear 4 times in the last year this gate has been down?
So in the last 12 months, rolling 12 months. 4 times, yes.
4 times, okay. And all those times were related to power affairs, or were there?
Or weather.
Or what do you mean by weather? What happens?
So if we have severe rain, sometimes, or wind, the reflectors are misaligned, in which it's a safety feature of the gate where it stays shut. So in those cases, maintenance comes out, does a little tweak, gate's working. So wind primarily would be one of the weather activities that mess with gate functionality.
And what about the walk-in gates? Is there any way to add a card reader to one of them?
So on the north side, there are no PED gates.
They're none.
Okay.
That was the only one was over.
And again, getting something like that through TSA could be impossible.
You mean to add another gate or?
V19. There is one PED gate by V18, but it's out of service. I think it's. But it's not or getting access, card access. But again, to Chris's point, the gates that are card access or cipher lock access are in our plan. So there could be a gate, but it's not in our plan. So we're not using that gate. As far as we're determined, it's just fence, even though there is a main gate there.
Yeah, you're talking about your plan with TSA.
Correct. Security plan, yes.
Can it be altered, that plan? If
We can make requests to alter, but it doesn't mean they'll be granted. So it really, it's restrictive.
And infrastructure would have to be put in. You need electrical to have a card reader at the gate, because we need to know who's coming in and out. We can't just punch code it in and out.
Right.
Okay.
What about a battery? A generator might be kind of expensive, but a battery could be pretty inexpensive. But you've heard what's happened. Is there any solutions that staff sees?
Let us take it back and revisit it again. I'm not going to go against our security program.
Yeah. No, and I don't think anybody wants that.
Or our other programs that keep us in compliance and safe. And those are just our most critical things. And I'm not going to go against our staff that are managing those programs, but we will take it back and we can revisit again and brainstorm again. But there are no guarantees that any of the other options will get through compliance with our regulatory agencies.
Okay.
Director Gagliotti?
Yeah, the ASP, when was this last one approved? When was the last ASP approved?
I have to go back and look. I mean, we are always updating and changing, probably recently because we changed our site align.
Right.
So it was
That-
probably updated and approved.
Is that when, I mean, where I'm getting at is that, I mean, you've heard this and I've experienced this too, is that we did have access. We had multi-gate access. So it's not as though this is unprecedented and it was if it was in an ASP before, why was it pulled out of the last one?
Remember, as I said, that was quite a few years ago. We're going back to
It was
2020.
2022.
And things change constantly in
Sure.
the regulatory environment that we live in.
I would love to, okay, I mean, what I want to do is I want to challenge that. Like I want to say, okay, if it's that strict, then let us appeal, let the pilots appeal. Let us make the case. I mean, does Cord have access to multiple gates?
Court has a red badge, so yes.
Yeah, so he has access, okay. But meaning that we as an airport have found it necessary for operations to occur, maintenance operations to occur, and we've given access to this person. All we're asking is the same level of badge to be able to take or
It's a different activity, a different security. There are so many things that are different with that. And we can't get into details of security to a minute point here. We have to.
this isn't minute. This is not minute. This is broad brush. And can I just share, look, let me just, the appeal to the TSA and to the FAA is that I can get into my plane and go to any gate that's basically here. So the security risk or the trust that I have that's been bestowed on me is already been given to me because I'm on the other side of the gate. They know I'm here. So I don't see, and I'm also having a hard time understanding the 3 gates that are all connected that are in no taxiway. It's all movement areas. I mean, there's no risk. There's no risk, additional risk to incursions on the taxiways and to the airports. It seems like it's a very, very low risk. And I think if the airport could get behind that, I think that we could make that case to the TSA or the FAA.
We can look at it, we can make the case, but there is no guarantee that it will get approved. I just want to make sure that we're making it clear.
Okay, and here's what I'm offering to you is that let's leverage this group in making that case. Let's say, look, we have a very active pilot group on this airport. We had this access before TSA. We would like to extend that same access that we had before. We're not asking for anything different. We're asking for what we had before. The only change is that we've moved the maintenance facility over to the north side. That's it.
That's the change you see. There are a lot of changes from the regulatory agency that you don't see. That have happened
How do the
here.
firemen get into BR 22B when they need to
They
get
have a
in?
different class of badge.
No, but if the gate is down, how do they get in?
If the gate is down, they have a way that they can.
Yeah, there's a workaround. Right. No, but what I'm saying is it we have these issues with other participants that are on the
But
airport.
I would challenge that in that the ARF does not need to get out and,
They need to get in.
well, they don't go outside the gate. They.
No.
Truck does not go outside.
No,
the
if
gate.
if they get called in and someone comes in, they need to be able to get into that gate to go to the ARF, correct? There's cars over there. I see civilian cars over there.
Well, engine 16.
No, I'm talking about the firemen driving in and staying at the ARF. I see civilian cars there all the time.
Okay.
They get in. I know where you guys are coming from. You want to protect I get it. But what I don't understand is I don't understand the pushback, and I'm questioning it because we've had this before.
Again, we work under the regulatory agency and those requirements and those change, and they change from time to time.
Sure.
And it has changed significantly in the last few years.
Okay, so let's appeal that. Let's push on that. I mean,
So John,
yeah.
John, I get it.
Okay.
I would also say that right now, you're speaking from a very specific lived experience and point of view, and not necessarily for the whole board in this moment, right? That if there was direction that we were going to provide to staff for something that we wanted them to investigate, that would be something that we.
I'm asking the executive director, which is what I'm allowed to do as a board or as a board member. Right? I'm asking her, what is it that we can do? That's what I'm asking.
Sure.
Okay. And look, you have done the same for some of your causes. Okay.
I understand. I'm just saying that if there were specific direction that the board were providing to staff.
Right now, I'm gathering information.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So a couple things, maybe. If we could explore somehow putting auxiliary power on the gates, whether it's generator, backup battery, solar with battery, I don't know. But I think it's something that if we could explore, that would help solve this because then it would be more reliable, correct? Number two, I have a question. Is it our maintenance people that actually fix the gates?
In conjunction with outside contractors, yes.
Okay,
Depending on what the issue is. So
Okay.
if it's mechanical, our maintenance team can do it. If it has to do with our badging system, then we have to call in a contract service.
because I think Whitney was talking about if the thing gets out of alignment, which,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's something we can do.
I am the least mechanical person in the world, but it seems like that would be something that maybe even I could realign.
And they do
Maybe.
that.
So, maybe we talk a little bit more about our own maintenance. And then, please, if you could explore the possibility with TSA of revisiting the plan of how this might work, where people have better access to other areas of the airport. I think those are maybe what I heard the three asks from our group. And then maybe fourth is just with our PD, explain to them that sometimes their response time, if it could be a little faster. And I know that when we're having so much trouble with getting out of parking, that I sat one night for an hour out there myself because I came in late and the parking was down and I couldn't get my badge to work. So, we all have time and we all have limited patience. And so if that's the other thing, maybe a discussion with Delray Oaks PD about just timing and how long it takes them to respond to things. I think that would also be valuable. And I hear all of what you said. I know the staff did too. And, we want everybody to be able to have access to their planes and to be able to fly. And we need to operate under the rules that the federal government has us under, which sometimes tighten down, and we get that. So, Jonathan?
I did have one quick question. So in the lease agreements, when they are leasing a hangar, is there language in the lease agreement that grants access to the hangar?
I'm sure there is. I don't know what it says.
We have to go back. and
You have,
read.
well, you have to get a badge. I mean, I can speak if I may. The way that it works, the way it's worked in the past, but the way it works right now is that you sign a lease agreement.
Uh-huh.
That lease agreement enables you, and then wherever that hangar is, you go to badging. Badging knows where your hangar is, and you get access to that gate. That's given. In the past, you went through that same process, but if you had maintenance, if you were on the north side and you had maintenance on the south side, you got a letter from either Court or the avionics shop or whatever, and it was a form. It was a Monterey Peninsula Airport form that they filled out, and then they wrote it and sent it into the badging. And you had to coordinate all that before you actually went into badging, because it had to be there or you would not be given access. And then every year they check to see whether or not you either have that letter or that letter's still current, or if something has changed. Because I used to have 3-gate access. I had the north side, I had the south side, and then I was getting an instrument rating over at Monterey Bay Aviation. And when they closed, when I went to get rebadged the next year, they took that away. So it was an active check. They're constantly checking. No, you no longer need access to this. But
Yeah.
if the need was there, if the operational need or the necessity was there,
Yeah.
you were gained that access.
I get the nature of my question is to understand if we as an airport are somehow in violation of our lease agreement with the tenants by not allowing them access to a space that they're leasing from us. I don't know what the language is in the lease agreements, and so I
Yeah, I don't
know
believe so.
It's not
what is in there.
Maybe we can ask a lawyer.
Yeah, I don't think there's language that specifically says,
No.
you'll have access 24/7 regardless of conditions. But having said that, it's generally a good practice. You want to make sure that people have access to their hangars that they're paying for. And so I think if I can just reiterate what Chris mentioned, what the executive director mentioned, I think she's going to take a look at it and see, look, what can we do? And we'll revisit it. We'll make another appeal and we'll see what of these 3 things or 4 things I think that you asked.
I'm going to add 5.
Well, perfect. Because
Keep talking, I'll keep adding.
We'll take a look at it and we'll see what we can do. I mean, no one's sitting here saying we want to prevent, pilots from having access to their airplanes. That's not what we're trying to do. Nor is that what we want to do. We want them to have access to their plane whenever they want to have access to it. And so we'll take a look at it.
I appreciate you saying that out loud because the sentiment is it's not that, right? I mean, that's where a lot of this is coming from. Okay.
So one more question is, if the notice goes from us to the owner, the major tenant, and then is there a way for our notices to go directly to the subtenants so that there's not a delay in notification and in what's going on?
We can explore that as an option. But as it is practice now, we notify the master tenant because they have the tenant relationships with all.
It just seems to me, I mean, communication is such an important piece of it. If it could be like a master texting list, like, hey, we've got this issue, it's going to be back. You said it went out for 3 days in May. I mean, that's the kind of thing that if it has to go through somebody else and you have to telephone I told you and they told them, if it can go directly from the source to the tenants and subtenants, I think that also would help. Because it's just something else delay and another interpretation. So that would be my number 5. So anyway, are we good with those?
I think that those are good. Thank you. I appreciate the discussion.
Okay, so thank you all and we'll work on it. Okay, we're going to go to revision to the Employee Handbook Personnel Policy Manual, June 2026.
So at the last meeting, you asked for revisions to 2 sections. The first was, it was actually, we were looking at section 16 grievances, but what you were asking for was actually in and better set to be in section 4.03, reporting discrimination, harassment, retaliation, and abusive conduct. So there was stuff in there, but we added the little bit of language you can see on page 27, including district council. So it allows for what you were asking for to report to other sources other than the executive director. So it includes the district council on 2 different pages, 27 and 28.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
On the second one that you asked for was in the section for artificial intelligence. So we went back and revisited that section, and you will see the changes starting on page 49. Made the paragraph clearer, I believe, that for what you were asking for at the last meeting, and updated a couple other sections to identify approved and unapproved. And approved would be when we are deploying things that are available to staff, then it's an approved use. And then the unapproved uses would be things that we haven't deployed or haven't been put into a standard operating procedure or that aren't managed by our IT team. And these will all meet both our IT requirements as well as our cyber insurance. So I think that I hope that that addresses all the questions that you had.
So I read through it. I didn't have any questions or comments on it. Did you, Director Miller?
No. Looks like you got everything that we had concerns about. Thank
Director
you.
Gagliotti?
No.
Yes. Director Mahdi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
so
you
good.
for going.
Thank you so much.
Doing it.
Interesting enough, at the special districts meeting the other night, this topic came up. It was a pretty hot topic because a lot of the small districts have no idea even how to begin the whole thing. So we're ahead of the power. So I like that. Number 4, Resolution 1936, a resolution granting a public road easement with the city of Monterey and outlining ongoing obligations for the roundabout at Olmsted and Garden Road.
So as you're well aware, part of our mitigation with the EIR for the Safety Enhancement Program was to construct the roundabout at the intersection of Garden Road and Olmsted. If I go to the last page with the plot, the plot to accompany is a good description of what we're talking about. So the area that's described as area 0.186 acres and is hatched out is airport property. The line, the dotted line that then goes to the solid line and back to the dotted line is the City of Monterey boundaries. So and the City of Monterey did review this at their meeting on Tuesday and did approve it. So it's been approved at the city council level. But we are granting to them an easement that will allow them to maintain and police this portion of the road. So it's on our property, but they will have full control and maintenance of the full roundabout on all 4 quadrants. We, though, will maintain the island in the middle, the landscaping of that island, and our monument sign that will go in that island. So we will maintain the maintenance of the island plus the little slitter islands on our either end. So the little pieces that don't allow people to cross over with, do U-turns or anything like that. So that will be our requirement and our maintenance of those, but the city will maintain the rest of the pavement and the policing of that roundabout on our property. So with that, I ask you to consider Resolution 1936.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public for comment. Thank you for being so patient.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Paul Dyson. I'm a resident of Pacific Grove, a recent arrival. Before that, way back, I come from the land of roundabouts. And it's always astonished me that it's taken so long for this country to adopt roundabouts as an efficient way of moving traffic. In my new life up here, I actually use the Highway 1 and Holman Highway roundabout and the new one at Lorelis Grade, and they work very efficiently and they seem to be very safe. And so please, let's get on with building these roundabouts. We'll all benefit. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public want to comment? All right, I'm going to bring it back to the board. Director Mahdi.
Yeah. We discussed this in lease committee and discussed the consequences of not doing this and the airport having the responsibility of maintenance and potential insurance issues and liability issues if there were incidents on the road. Staff had a great presentation for us, and we are recommending adoption by the full board.
Perfect. Director Gagliotti.
I have no real questions with this, but if we ever accomplish a de-annexation, does this get folded into that? Is this all part of that?
No.
No.
No. All right. So this will actually then will extend into that, or I mean,
Will live on its own.
Yeah. Okay.
In perpetuity, because we want the city to maintain the full control of the roundabout. We don't want to be in this situation where an incident happens in this quadrant and it's our responsibility.
Right. No, I get it. No, I completely understand the logic and of this. I don't actually know where the de-annexation would happen in Monterey if this would become ours anyway.
This is not part of the area that's being covered by de-annexation.
Okay. That was my only kind of curiosity.
Perfect. Thank you. Director Miller.
Yeah, I see. Thank you for this report. Just had a couple quick questions. When you talk about a concrete street monument, what are we talking about there?
It's just a marker that's out there.
Just like a street sign?
Survey marker. It's a survey marker.
Oh, a survey. So it's not a monument in that sense. Okay.
No,
Eggplant,
no sculptures of Carl Miller.
well, that was my next. What about in the center? Are we going to do anything other than just landscaping?
We will have, and it was part of our, presentation probably a long time ago to you when we showed you.
I may have been out.
the,
Maybe I was
signage
away.
That will go into the building as well as the signage out in the parking lot. And we will have a monument sign that has gone through architectural review with the city already. So
Okay.
we have approval for that as well.
And when I looked through this, and I did look quickly, but I didn't, I know some of this is going to be covered by our grants, but I'm just curious, what's this costing us?
I'm sorry, the full roundabout?
Yes,
Probably about $5 million.
5 million. Okay.
At no cost to the city.
Correct.
Oh, you're welcome.
They could sell it and make that.
Thank you. That's all I have.
I had one question. Is there any place along here that there's going to be a place for people to walk across?
Yeah, there are crosswalks. It's all part of it. There's bike lanes and crosswalks all included.
Okay.
In this, yes.
Because I do see a lot of people out walking and running and doing stuff out there. Okay, good. So I would ask for someone to make a motion to adopt
I
resolution
move that we approve.
1936.
Second.
We have a first and a second, and could I have a roll call, please, Denise?
Director Marty,
Aye.
Director Gagliardi,
Aye.
Director Leffel,
Yes,
Director Miller,
Yes.
perfect. Thank you. And item 5, Transportation Association of Monterey County, TAMC, Scenic Road 68 Corridor Improvement Project Update.
You asked us.
Yeah, we did. I was the one that brought that up. I was thinking we'd get somebody from TAMC to come and
Give us an update on.
give us an update, but nothing I think we really have to work on. They are going to vote on this next month at TAMC on a modified, not every intersection will have a roundabout, but the main 3 would be from Los Reales grade to,
It's right
Raleigh
there.
Tierra.
In the report.
Yeah, it's in the
San
report.
Bernardino, Corella del Tierra, and Lorella's grade.
so if the rest of the board wants to consider approving that, I can tell you in the past, there's been a lot of opposition from people living out there to prevent that.
Sorry, what do you mean approve it?
Well, we could say that we're in agreement that the 3 roundabouts should go in for the reasons stated. There was safety, there was increased traffic flow.
You mean that the board would approve a letter to
Yes.
TAMZ
In support.
in
In
support of?
support of it, yes.
As a response to this. This is just to accept, right?
Yeah, this is an exception. So if we wanted to do a letter, we'd have to bring it back to vote on it.
Right, as an action.
It's discussion, but
Yes,
Yeah.
just discussion.
right.
Okay.
Unless you want to direct the executive director to write a letter and send it in on your behalf without you seeing it, you can do that as well.
I mean, I think we could support it. I support it. Public supports it.
Director Miller?
Yes, I would move that we write a letter of support.
Well, we're just going to,
We'll just direct-
Recommend.
We'll just
Recommend,
recommend,
yeah.
yeah, right, exactly, yeah.
Director Marty?
Sounds great.
Okay, so if you would like to write a letter, that would be great. I'm sure you'd love that.
Is that one of the approved purposes of AI technology, is to write a letter of support? Is that included?
We had one for the last time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to go on. The board has department reports in front of them. Does anyone want to comment on any of the department reports? Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on a department report?
John gave me the look, so I'm not gonna.
No, dude,
I'm not gonna say anything.
I can only imagine which one you would, you.
No, you know what? I had nothing to comment on.
Okay.
Police report was pretty benign.
It was. Was.
We're going to go to ad hoc committee reports, local jurisdiction liaison. Directors Leffel and Pick did not meet with any of our local jurisdiction during this time. LAFCO, I can tell you there is a meeting on Monday. Is that true? No, there's not a meeting on Monday. There's not a meeting till August. There's no meeting in
You
July.
tell us.
It has been a very busy LAFCO month for me because of being chair, but there is not a LAFCO meeting. Ken Waisaki, I'm going to ask him to come in August if he can and just introduce himself so that you all meet him. And he's really hit the ground running and doing a really good job. So it's very,
He's
very
the alternate?
Hmm?
He's the alternate?
He's the new
Okay,
executive
no, that's
director.
it.
Mhm. So, Regional Taxi Authority, I know, Jonathan, you have a report.
We met. We met. Salinas Councilmember Barrera was reelected as chair and Supervisor Alejo as vice chair for this next year. There was a presentation from Kevin Alshouse from MST related to taxi operations. There are 80 permitted drivers right now and 89 vehicles, which for reference is down from pre-COVID, where it was about 115 to 120 drivers. They had 0 complaints last year reported to the authority, and they performed 20 random inspections on vehicles and found no issues with any of the vehicles. There was a lot of discussion on fees. They are increasing the fees for the owners of these vehicles. It's going up 40%. However, that said, they had done a review of similar jurisdictions and found that they were bringing it up to what is actually the average, and that they had been undercharging for the operating permit fees for these, not the operating, the owner permit fees. The purpose of really raising these dollars is to establish a cash reserve for the operation, because essentially they operate in a deficit, an annual deficit, where there are fees that Regional Taxi Authority incurs to MST, and then at the end of the year, they have to pay that. And right now, there's not a reserve. So essentially, they're trying to build up a 1-year reserve so that they always have the cash to pay their debts. And that the operating budget passed unanimously with those increases. And yeah, I provided an update to the group on our construction project and what's happening at the airport, and encourage people to fly Monterey.
Good, thank you. Any comments, questions? Okay, thank you. Next July, we'll go again.
Yeah.
Tams,
TAMSI does not have meetings in July or November. So there was no meeting.
okay. Special Districts Association met on Tuesday, and Lorenzo Rios, who is the new president of California Special Districts, was a guest. He came, he's actually the executive director of the Clovis Veterans Memorial District. And he gave a talk on the importance of CSDA and just why he got involved and what he sees as a benefit. There was quite a bit of discussion about SB 992, which impacts a lot of our districts, and that is the Senate bill that will raise the limit to 250,000 for small districts, that they do not have to do an annual audit. So many of them have somewhere between $10,000 and $70,000 a year in income. And what happens is an audit is about a minimum of 10,000. I don't care where you go. And so it just eats up all of their money that they brought in and does not allow them to buy any equipment or to do anything. So this is a really good thing. It's been 150,000 for something like 15 years. So raising it to 250 is probably still not enough, but at least it's a start in the right direction. There in the year that just happened, there were 2,178 bills that CSDA reviewed, and there were 475 that we took an active roll on one way or another. So most of the bills that they opposed were rejected, and the ones they sponsored were able to go forward. So it was a pretty good year. So we had just over 40 people attend on Tuesday, and our next meeting is October 20th. So
We voted on,
Yeah, what happened with
yeah,
that?
did Vince?
oh, that hasn't been done yet.
It hasn't been.
No,
that-
no,
okay.
we don't know who it'll be. So David Kong, by the way, was seated at LAFCO at the last meeting. So he is the alternate after all of that. And we still do not have a public member.
Well,
So
you get
it's back out for public member applications, and that will close on August 14th at 5 o'clock.
But the seated public member is still, is
The seated public member is still there. Yes. Yes.
Bless you.
Sorry. Association of Monterey Bay Area Governments, they did not meet this month. It was not canceled. It was canceled. And so I think that's the end of the reporting. Does anyone from the public have a comment on any of those reports? Okay. We have on here pending requests for future agenda items, and MPAD's presentation on the 2050 municipal transportation plan is on there. And if we have kind of a light load next month,
It won't be a light load next month.
we have Tibia, maybe? Okay, so we'll ask maybe September. I'll get a hold of Heather and see if September might work for her. Okay, anything else on future agenda items?
like one. I've been doing some work on precincts, voting precincts. Well, it's for my own stuff here in Dory Oaks, but I did apply our districts to the precincts, and the 2014 districts do not line up with the 2025 voting precincts. And so I'd like to kind of bring that up. There are holes where there's precincts are split by our boundary. And I can show where.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Precinct.
Precincts.
Yeah, when you're in a precinct, you say, and so there are several places where someone who will get might be in Carl's district or my district, but the precinct actually is for another district.
And the ballot that they get is based.
Yes,
on the
that's right.
precinct. It's not
Exactly
based
right.
on the-
Exactly right. The ballot is based on the precinct. So there's several of them. I can show them to me. So
Let's talk about that.
yeah, exactly. But I just want to say that if we're going to discuss it at the board, I'd like to make it known now, but I'm doing the work now. I mean, I can show it to you visually.
Yeah, I'd like.
We paid somebody to put that together for us, didn't we?
We did, and we're prohibited from changing it until
30.
Yeah, I think it's 2030.
After the
For the census.
So
So-
let's see what I talk about, because
Yeah.
I want to find out exactly what the issue is that
Yeah.
you're looking at.
Well, so ours is ours is the LAFCO 2014. And then, yeah, that's what's on our website.
For the districts?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It
I
was
just
just
checked.
recently.
Look.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it offline.
I also had one thing, and if you don't mind. So Chris, there was a article in Monterey Weekly about an ICE enforcement action that happened at the airport. Do we know if that did occur? I mean, it was reported by a civilian group, right? That had happened. Do we know if it did?
We think it might have, but we don't know for sure. But we were not aware of it prior to or during or after. And so.
Yeah,
And-
we all read it in the weekly at the same time.
Yeah, and there's no Immigration Customs and Enforcement has, there's no need for them to notify the airport of actions on airport property.
No.
Just asking.
We're obligated to enforce federal laws too, right? Is there something in our grant assurances that we have to comply with federal laws?
We do. We do.
Okay, we're a little out of the Brown Act to be discussing this, so, anyway. If you would, is your request on a future agenda to have just a discussion about what the rule is, or are you comfortable with it? I think,
I'm comfortable with it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, good. Okay, anybody else? I'm going to say we are adjourned at 7:42. Let's go see if we can win an award.
Yeah, if we won already.